We obviously know you through your work in Web3, but as you've sort of mentioned throughout this conversation, you have experience across a very broad sort of tech spectrum, especially financial services. Can you give the audience a little bit more of a sense of, what your role at AWS really encapsulates today? Maybe talk about some of the work you've done in sort of the financial services vertical, whether that's, high frequency trading, low latency, that sort of thing. Just sort of curious and want the audience to get a sense.
Yeah. I'm one of those Web3 people who come from TradFi, like that's how we call it, like traditional finance now. And so back in my consulting career and first 5 years at AWS, I strictly work with very large, financial service institutions, mainly with investment banks, hedge funds, and global banks, and key like two critical infrastructure companies in financial services. And in my past life, I built low latency, high frequency trading infrastructure, a lot of them on premise. And that was me. And fast forward in 2024, AWS decided to, bring more muscle power to the vertical, as a principal solutions architect with the startup segment, we had a focus on very key startups in the space, and I became the principal solutions architect for some named accounts. What a solutions architect does is we are the technical end of the conversation. I mean, you may think, customers, when they engage with AWS pre or post sales, like they have questions and they have a person as an extension of their team to answer key questions. It's not just limited with that. In the proper definition, what I do and people like me, what we do is we work with our customers and we define the to-be architecture, the infrastructure for a future state, which we learn from the best practices by our experience, by the company, by the technology that we know. We paint the picture of a future state. And every company is at another state. I call it the as-is state. And a solutions architect job is to take company from the as-is to be state. And that is not a single path, a single activity stream. There are hundreds of activities. Some of them are like just turning of a switch. Some of them take like 5 years to migrate your core platform. And what we do is, I usually say we are not more intelligent than our customers, but we have more customers, larger ears, and we learn a lot. So we help our customers from as is to be architectures in the most efficient and the fastest way. So that is pretty much what I do. I usually introduce myself. I'm the technical end of the conversation.
Got it. And, obviously working with so many different types of startups, you get what I would, describe as a lens into where the future is going. And I think you sort of described this in sort of the, you saw cloud, that it was going to be a big thing, before others like really latched onto it and you saw sort of the market really expand. Are there any startup trends you're seeing that enterprise leaders should be paying attention to right now that they are not?
Well, it has always been the case. Enterprise leaders, including myself, that's how I've noticed startups. Like they know startups are innovating. It is a very different mindset, first of all, the startups. And you know better because you are also a part of it. You have a timeline, you have a runway, you have been invested in, you have a goal. It is not like you're investigating, or it's not like day-to-day or even a long-term strategy. You have a very well-defined path to success. And what I really like in startups is it's very pragmatic. Like you do the things that can be done in the most efficient, the fastest way that is possible, because there is a very clear goal in like a year, 2 years, 3 years. This is where I want to be. And you don't need to follow any infrastructure or this is the database I need to migrate to. You are starting from scratch. There's a whole different mindset. So at a high level, business-wise, startups always come up with like the next gen of the story. Okay. And that is very natural. That's how the markets work, right? In terms of what I have been observing is that, there are a lot of curves that shows like the technologies, like they are like initial and like mid-stage and things. I mean, I think with the Web3 technologies, there was an initial phase where everyone went crazy. There was a peak and everybody went like, oh, okay, let's do it. And then good or bad, like out of reputation, like I don't need to repeat the stories that everybody knows. But now we are in the actual realization phase where we can see and understand why decentralized transactions and the applications are changing the world, and I see a lot of, like, being where I am right now, I can see actual transfer of ownership or tokenization, or actual trading, is happening at a very different scale. It is not very publicly, advertised right now. But if you track just the keywords, like, it's not just called crypto or Web3. That's the only difference I'm observing. As long as you follow the activities under digital assets, the world is changing. It's changing very rapidly. I'm seeing super exciting solutions every day. And I'm very happy to be here.